Hey everyone, this is Rob over here at BuneBape, and I hope you're having an amazing day. Today I'll be bringing you all another New World video, and this time it's going to be on another moneymaker. So this moneymaker recently came back onto the menu, and I'll tell you why in just a second. But before that, make sure that, as with all my moneymaker videos, you do check your server, because it might be a complete waste of time for you to farm a couple of these materials, as there's probably not going to be a huge margin on all of them. We're going to be covering a ton of different items today in this video, so make sure to check before you do spend your time, as you could make a lot more money doing one thing or the other. So with that being said, we are going to be farming refining reagents. So if you don't know what they are all the sand flux, tannins, crossweave, sandpaper, and solvents that you find in chests throughout the world. The reason I say that this has recently been put back on the menu is because in patches previously, they actually buffed the amount of these you got whenever you did loot chests, making them practically worthless. Now that they have nerfed those back to the previous rates, these are going to be still expensive, as you do need an absolute massive amount of these items if you are planning on maxing out any of your refining trade skills. And you are going to absolutely need to max out these refining skills if you are looking to get these crafting reagents for legendary gear, such as runic leather and asmodium. So that is usually where the draw comes from these items, but in this video I'm going to be telling you how to farm them, where to go. I'm going to give you routes for very low levels, medium, as well as very high levels to hopefully find the most amount of tier 3, tier 4, and tier 5 refining reagents. Of course, make sure to let me know down in the comments below if you do know of any other great spots that I don't mention here. This is just some spots that I found are really good and consistent while I was leveling. Also, for this particular moneymaker, you're going to want to check and make sure that you're not going to be using any of these reagents. Personally, I don't use flux or sandpaper, so I tend to sell those in high quantities because I'm mainly focusing on armoring right now. And with that out of the way, if you do enjoy this video or it does help you out at all, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe, as I really do appreciate it, and it really does help the channel get noticed. So let's jump into this very first route. So here we are at the map. We're going to be going over the first route, and it's going to be the lowest level route, so most people are going to be able to farm this as well as the surrounding areas without a problem. What's really nice about this farming route in particular is that there's a lot of additional gatherables. We're going to be going through a lot of farms, so you can pick up food. You can also pick up a lot of linen and fiber. And lastly, there's going to be a ton of moats that you can find around here. So if you are familiar with my moat farming video, this route is going to be very similar to that. So if we zoom in here to Windsward, our route is going to be essentially going through all of the farms. So we're going to start here just west of Windsward in Cooper's Ranch. Then we're going to head south to Merrill's Place, and then you can make an option here of going to all three of these locations, or simply going to Moe's Farm, Buccaneer Falls, and then proceeding up to Willett's Homestead. You can totally skip Buccaneer's Creek if you want. That is kind of out of the way and there's not a ton of chests there. Once you are at Willett's Homestead, then this is going to be essentially the end of the run, and you can run up here back to Cooper's Ranch to reset. Like I said, because there are a lot of farms here, you not only are going to get a ton of these chests and caches to search through, you're also going to get a lot of food, which you can use to either level up your cooking or just make some extra money on the side. So as for the second location here, it's going to be over in Restless Shores. This is, I think, a really great location. It's one of my favorite ones, especially because it is a medium to high level zone. So you're going to find some nicer loot here as far as the reagents, a lot more T4 reagents here, as well as higher level food and stuff like that in the crates, as well as gear. So we're going to start over here in the actual settlement of Restless Shore, and we're going to start by doing a very large circle. I found this to be the best, as while there is a lot of running, there are a lot of chests in each of these zones, and this gives time for all of the chests to reset. So we're running to the southeast. We're going to start over here in East Shore Pier. There is a lot of chests here, so make sure to check all of the rooms. Then we're going to run over to Seal's Stake, and we're going to dip into Jetsam Isle. We're going to have a little bit of backtracking as you go back up to Bubble Bay and Neptune's Fury. Then we're going to do a large arc here into Festering Flotsam, as well as Ravaged Wreck. This area is going to have some extra gatherables you can get along the way, whether that be some extra linen and fiber or some extra lodestone, but not nearly as much as the first areas I just talked about. So I have an additional route here that I wanted to throw in that's also in Restless Shores. This area is going to have a lot more gatherables, so a lot more extra linen, silk, and moats that you're going to be able to pick up along the way, although this route is a little bit more disjointed. So you can start here by going to the Shrine of Sisyphus. This is just slightly north in the Restless Shores. And you're going to start by going southeast. Once you get to Fornax, you can jump over and fall into Treetop Terror with ending in the Plundering Shark. Then you can go back around the coastline, hit Channel View Post, Ocean View Post, and Fort Damnation. You're going to find a lot of really good gatherables as you make your way through these lowlands into the Accursed Camp, and there you can finally end back at the Shrine of Sisyphus. Like I said, this is a little bit more running and it's a little bit more disjointed, but you are going to get a decent bit of gatherables, especially in these lowlands and highlands that you can find here in between the Accursed Camp as well as Boar's Home. Alright, here we are in the northwest part of the map for our third and final location. This is where you're going to find all the really nice loot and big tier 5 refining reagents. There's going to be quite a few locations here, and I'll take you through each one in the 3 different zones. I would recommend you be level 55 plus or have a really good group to carry you through a lot of this, as these enemies can really devastate you, especially if you're a lower level. So starting off here in Eden Grove, the main place you're going to want to be going is the Tower of Malevolence. Unfortunately, this area is still bugged with the bosses, but this is nice because all of the elite chests that are available are not really going to be guarded by any enemies that are too tough. There's also going to be a really good amount of the lower level chests, and the enemies aren't too difficult. Moving over here to Great Cleave, we're mainly going to be focusing on the west side, being Mangled Heights, and finishing in Nilo's Visage. You can start from the north or the south, whatever you like. There's not too much loot down in either of the routes. Most of the loot is going to start at the beginning of Mangled Heights, especially once you get into the Mangled Pox Gate. Finishing here in Nilo's Visage, there is going to be some high level bosses, so make sure to have a pretty competent group, or just a large group, as well as some of the chests being blocked by orichalcum veins, so make sure you have someone with you that has a decent level mining. Finally ending here in Shattered Mountains, there is quite a few locations here, and I'll try to quickly go over them. So the first and easiest location in my opinion is going to be in Upper Spiken here in Kevinus. You simply need to do a loop around this area and you'll be able to cover it fairly quick with only a couple of bosses that aren't too difficult. Again, here there are more orichalcum veins that are covering chests, so bring someone with mining. Moving up here to the second most difficult location, although arguably the best location for chests in my opinion, is going to be the Scorched Mines. In the Ambusti Inferior, there is a lot of lower level enemies, which is nice, as well as lower level chests. Once you do get up to Ambusti Superior, there are going to be some really high level lieutenants that are guarding the elite chests, with some very high level and hard hitting boss enemies that you might want to avoid altogether unless you have a very large group with you. The third and final place, of course, is going to be here in Murkgard. So this is a place that I've been to quite a few times now, and I think is very, very dense with chests. Although if you are looking to get any of the elite chests, you're going to have to deal with the Commander Thorpe type lieutenant bosses here, and they can hit really hard, wiping out entire groups of enemies with literally one swing. So this area I think is really great. And I do like the entire aesthetic of all of Shattered Mountain. This would be my top pick if you are trying to do some loot runs. And you are going to find groups forming for all of these areas I just mentioned, as a lot of them are quest areas. And on top of that, everyone knows that these are pretty decent places to get up your gear score, as well as find all of these materials. Alright, so quickly before we end the video, I wanted to come over here to the trading post and show you a few examples of what type of money you can expect to make here while gathering these items. So I'm on the server Orin in NA East, that's the region, and I wanted to show you with an example of Sandflux. So this is tier 3, the lowest level stuff that you can actually get, and it still sells for a decent amount of money. If you do move up one level to the tier 4 items, now this doesn't sell for pretty much any more than the tier 3 stuff, but people are going to buy these much more often than the tier 3 items. So while you can get a lot more of the T3 items potentially faster depending on your level, if you can get the tier 4 items, I'd immediately move up and try to farm more of those. And it's going to be the same case for the tier 5 items. So if we look up the Obsidian Flux, this is going to be the tier 5, and as you can see, it's nearly triple the price of the tier 3 and tier 4 items. This is what a lot of people are going to be buying to level up their refining as fast as possible because it does provide a large return and it saves people a lot of time. It is unfortunate not everyone is going to have access to getting all these tier 5 reagents. And like I said, I would highly recommend selling the stuff that you're not using and keeping the stuff that you are using and leveling up your refining as much as you possibly can. Or if that's not something you're interested in at all, then that just means that you're going to be able to make a little bit more money. So of course, this is just one example. You're still going to get all the other T5 reagents such as aged tannin, obsidian sandpaper, and everything else like that. And this is just going to pay your bills, get you some money here and there, get you some really nice upgrades that you can buy off the market. It's not going to be able to, get you retired from this game or anything like that. There's really no moneymakers I've found so far that are going to get you that much money. And of course, everyone knows that the economy in this game is in shambles at the moment. So this is just something to hold you over and make you some money while you're out there leveling. So I really hope that you all like this video and it did help you out to some extent. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you all very soon.